All right, so we are recording. Let me just double check. Yeah. So like I said, I'm Blythe Morrow. I'm the owner of Paper Sword B2B, and we're going to be talking about SEO, or the Microsoft Data Platform, or as I like to call it, for SQL peeps. So I just want to, I tried to hang out with you guys and say hello. If any of you guys want to unmute and just say hello, I would love that. I know Catherine just said hi, but please, I'll give just a minute. If you don't want to, that's fine. Just maybe give me an idea of what you do, so when I'm using examples, I can use those examples in what I'm teaching you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes.
Hi, I'm Gillian.
Hi, Gillian.
How are you?
Awesome. You know.
Thank you so much for putting this on. I'm really looking forward to it.
And so, Gillian, who do you work for?
So I have two hats really. I work for an IT consultancy as the token non-techie. So I do a bit of everything, a bit of marketing, a bit of contracts, pricing, everything. And I also work for an app startup that is database management tools, basically.
Okay, so it's a product. It's like a SaaS offering or some kind of software piece. Okay.
Yeah. So I work for a consultancy that has people doing the things that the app does, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. So does the consultancy offers both services and a software solution, or they're two separate businesses?
They're two separate things.
Okay.
But
and then
sort of the same kind of vibe.
Well, and I was curious. I was curious if any software SaaS folks were going to show up, because I figure I have kind of like 3 different types of folks on the call. So I obviously have consultants where a dollar paid is a dollar earned, where you're selling a service. There may be some folks here who are starting to productize those services, kind of like a managed service, remote DBA offering. There may be consultants who are building tools, who want to take those tools to market. And then I did see Brent sign up for this. So, and he offers training. And I know a lot of SQL Server consultants also do training, which is its own product in of itself, isn't it? And so when we talk about building product marketing around those services, we kind of package them and deliver them to the market differently. But from an SEO perspective, it's all the same. And so one of these days, maybe we could do a product marketing roundtable, and I can talk about how to package each one. But when we do SEO, we always go back to what people are searching for. What are their problems? And how are we finding that intent? Does anybody, are there any trainers on the call that you want to just kind of introduce yourself and talk about your training? I bet you there are some trainers who are selling training.
Hey, this is Catherine again.
Hi.
I'm not a trainer per se, but I do a few like speaking engagements and pre-cons coming up. So it's not really a product, but it's something that I enjoy and that I might want to look into more.
Great. And I think, the whole productizing your knowledge and creating something to deliver in a repeatable and monetizable, if that's a word, way, is really compelling for most consultants. And so I've worked with a number of consulting companies. I used to be the marketing director for SolidQ, and training is a huge component of their business and their revenue generation model. So with that said, let's just dive directly, and so you can tell that I'm the product marketer and I want to go in that direction, but we're talking about SEO. So before I get into the Google search optimization, I want to talk about your websites specifically, because this is really the low-hanging fruit. This is where you can optimize today, and you don't have to go out and compete with 100 different companies for the same keywords, right? So I'm going to go through each one of these, and I think that, and then we'll talk about Yoast, which is a tool that will help you help you manage this through your websites. So let's, a lot of this is quite intuitive, but it just takes time, right? So I imagine most of you have WordPress websites. If you don't, that's totally fine. I think Yoast works for most of the major platforms, and your website optimization is based off of 6 specific criteria. Google first needs to be able to search your website and find content and then rank that content. And it seems so simple, but the more complex your websites get, and the more you kind of build out your site structure, and I'm kind of pulling in hierarchy here, the more you may find that you're competing against yourself. And so when Google crawls through your website, the Google bot, as we call it, you need to make it as easy as possible for them to understand what content is in which segment of your website, and then how those, we call them clusters, work. So you've got, for example, a section on DevOps, and you do DevOps consulting, and you have blog posts about DevOps. So you have 2 sections of your website where you're talking about one specific keyword cluster. And you've got a whole bunch of keywords: DevOps, DevOps consulting, any kind of problem statements, AI automation. You need to be able, Google needs to know that both of those things are related. So as you're creating content, and as you're blogging, and as you're building out your web pages, it's important to continually cross-link those pages so that Google knows that that content is connected. So always be thinking about how your blog and your web pages work together. And then continually focus on what your keyword clusters are. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. So there are ways of developing web pages and having Google not index them. So I've found that with some of the organizations we've worked with, some website platforms, it's not 100% clear that something is indexed. So when you're publishing pages, make sure that those pages are indexed for Google to search through. And Yoast is going to help you with that. They will let you know if the pages are available and open for Google to search through. Make sure that you're doing a speed test for your website. Do one, we do one at least once a quarter for our clients, and I do one monthly for PaperSort. I think that it depends on your hosting, but sometimes, and if you're on a shared server and what else you have on your server for speed, but just make sure that it's as quick as possible, because that will really, really impact your SEO rankings for your keywords. And then I put tech here because I think it's important to make sure that whatever you're building your website on, so the CMS, the content management system that you've built inside of, or you've chosen inside of WordPress, or your Wix website, whatever platform you're using needs to be search engine friendly. So if you're thinking about a website redesign, you're thinking about switching over CMSs, make sure that it is 100% SEO friendly. And again, your Yoast is going to tell you that. So Yoast is a free WordPress plugin. I highly recommend that you download it and that you just start looking at it for your big pages. So if you're selling, let's say you are a database SQL Server consultant, and you are selling a remote DBA service. I keep going back to this, a retainer service with a bucket of hours, 20 hours to 100 hours a month. Your remote DBA service pages on your website, those are your most critical page, right? Because that's where your primary keyword cluster is going to come from. And so make sure that you download the Yoast plugin and that you look at each page of your website and optimize for all of your for all your components here. And it's going to tell you, it's going to, you know, it's really easy. It's like a red dot if you need to fix it, an orange dot if it's okay, and it'll tell you what to do. And then it'll let you know what works. And that's just an easy way of troubleshooting and knowing that you're on the right track without any extra help. So that's just kind of website optimization. And I haven't gone into content yet. We'll talk about that in a moment. I want to talk about your keywords. Keywords are the keystone of any SEO strategy, of any, you know, I'm going to say marketing strategy, really. So when we talk about a keyword, when I was, let me just tell you a story. When I was starting in marketing after I left PASS in 2009, and we were building marketing plans, our keyword strategy was quite simple, right? We'd build a marketing plan and we'd look at the product, and then at the top of the marketing plan, we'd write our 6 keywords. And then as we were developing our content pieces or doing our event strategies or building out our email marketing, we always related our content back to those 6 keywords. And you know what? It worked. A lot of the time we had no trouble ranking, and Google kind of played matchmaker, right? So they delivered our website full of the right keywords to the people searching for exactly those keywords. And as long as we knew our market well enough and kind of had enough foresight to match the product to what the customer wanted and was searching for, then we won. And I have to tell you that the world of search engine optimization has changed a lot since I started. And so as I've moved through this process of understanding how to get our clients to rank, I've realized that it's a much more amorphous world. But the one thing that stays true is that the keywords are still the keystone. The keywords are still what unites your product or your service or your training to a customer's need. So we're gonna leverage your keywords to drive more traffic. And how many people do I have on? 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. So we've got 10. That's what I thought. That's great. So all 10 of you, pull up a OneNote or pull up a notepad. I know it's early in the morning, or if you're on the East Coast, it's lunchtime, you're hungry, but do this for me. I want you to pull up or a pad of paper or something. And I want you to think about one product or service that you offer. Chances are you offer a couple, but think about whatever your primary revenue driver is, or whatever you're about to take to market, something that you're wanting to work on. And I want you to write out 3 phrases of no more than 6 words. So we're developing your keywords here. So 3 phrases, 1, 2, 3. So for PaperSword, for example, it would be like B2B marketing retainer, data platform marketing, brand strategy, and product marketing. So those are kind of the like, I don't know, just off the top of my head. So go ahead. I'm gonna give you 90 seconds. Just write out 3 phrases. Okay, so hopefully you've written your 3 phrases. If not, keep thinking about it. So I want you to do one more thing, and I'm actually going to get you guys to email me these. So please do this. Think about 3 more keywords, and let's do it with search intent. So search intent means that instead of thinking about what you do, so for example, I do brand strategy and product marketing. That's what I specialize in. But nobody's gonna, if somebody wants a rebrand, or if somebody wants some product marketing help, chances are they're not going to type in product marketing, because that's an industry standard word for me. So when I think about developing my keywords with search intent, I'm always thinking about my market. I'm thinking about my, for you guys, it'll be your IT directors or your CTOs or your enterprise data managers, right? When they're looking for your service, Power BI, SQL Server performance tuning, I don't know, SSIS package development. What are they going to search for? So take just a couple of seconds. For example, instead of brand strategy and product marketing, maybe they'll look for, they need copywriting, graphic design, or I need an outsourced marketing agency, or I need email marketing services, right? So think about what specifically is someone going to search for? And this is where you win with SEO. So hopefully you've got kind of like a couple of keywords here. I'm going to give you my email address. If you joined a little bit late, I was just saying that I was supposed to have my SEO and inbound expert, Misha Capewell, on the call. This is why I'm talking for him. You can see I'm actually the Misha Capewell host right now. He had to fly out to a client. And so he's offered to, if you email me, I'll give you my email at the end of the session, 3 keywords, we're going to send you an analysis and get you started here. So please think about how people would search for your services. Send me 3 keyword phrases of no more than 6 words, and we're going to do a little bit of analysis for you, and hopefully I'll answer some questions at the end with some of the research that we've already done. So I just want to talk about an example of keywords that we did. So we were building a ton of content around database managed services for a client. It's how they describe themselves, right? They're a managed service. The big players in the space, of course, would be RDX or Pythian, Datavale, right? So those were the major competitors. And when we were building their marketing strategy and their SEO plan, we realized that remote DBA, the keyword remote DBA services, had almost triple the number of keywords to managed service provider. People were way more likely to type in, I need a remote DBA, than they ever were to say, I need a database managed service provider. And so we learned that, and we thought, well, we could just add some remote DBA keywords to our website and describe our managed service as a remote DBA. And how we sold it in the back end, that was up to us, right? With the client once we converted them to a sales lead. Through further research, we discovered the database consulting was actually had triple the number of searches of remote DBA. And so our consulting page on this website was itty bitty, right? We'd been focused on the managed service product because that was the thing that the client wanted to take to market. We were describing it as a remote DBA service because that was getting more keywords. And then we thought, well, wait a second, if we're serious about just bringing people to the website, and if our client has bench depth and capacity to do database or SQL Server consulting, and we can bring way more traffic in that way, maybe we don't go to market with their retainer services. So, and it kind of makes sense, right? If you think about it from the persona, the IT director perspective, maybe they don't want to jump into bed with a database consultant right away and do a remote DBA service. Maybe they want some performance tuning, or maybe they want a cloud migration, and they'll test you out. They'll identify and validate that you have the skills they need to manage their data ecosystem. And so we beefed up the consulting page, and we have much more traction on that website now. So just think about, and I'm going to show you some tools here that will help you understand and do some of this research. But getting into the mind of your buyer is really important. All right. Okay. I can pause and ask if there are any questions, but you were like the most quiet group. So I will. Do you have any questions? Cool. Good talk. I should have known. I should have known that you guys wouldn't be as excited about keywords as me. So I kind of developed these 7 steps. I figured, you know, there's a lot to know in SEO. So let's assume that you've done your website optimization. You've installed Yoast, you've gone through your top level navigation pages, maybe your second level pages, and you've optimized them for your speed, for your CMS. It's looked at your architecture, your website is gold, and it's good to go. Now you need to start doing some research, you need to start replacing some of the content on your website with the keywords you've identified. This is really important because how's Google going to play matchmaker if they don't know that, you know, that what your person's searching for, however you've described your service, that those two things go together. So you need to really incorporate your keywords into your content. And I mean, there's an art to this, right? Because you can't go gangbusters. You can't go crazy and just have it littered with keywords, because then when somebody actually clicks on your site and needs you to demonstrate that you have the technical capabilities and the knowledge that you say you have, if it's just a bunch of keywords, you're not going to accomplish that goal. And the goal is always to convert, right? To get that person on the phone, to have a conversation about what their needs are. And so be careful when you're replacing your keywords. Don't go crazy, but make it very, very easy for Google to find you and to connect the person who's searching with you. So for step 2, I have the creation of landing pages. So I imagine that most of you, if not all of you, have a blog. So that's step 3. We're going to talk about, you know, developing a blog post. But the landing page development is something that I've learned over the last couple of years that just does wonders, because most people really don't do this. Especially consultants in the tech world. A lot of organizations are doing it. But if you identify your keywords, let's say your keyword is performance, SQL Server performance tuning training, right? Or SQL Server coaching. I love that word, coaching. What you're going to want to do is create a landing page that is not linked to your current website. So it's still, you know, it's still in your website. So it's www.yoursite.com/the keyword SQL Server performance tuning. And it exists as its own page. It has your, one second. I'll just close that. It has your navigation, but it is tailored to that keyword. So your header and all of your content wraps around a specific keyword. And so Google knows that that content is perfectly catered towards every single person who searches for that phrase. If you create strong calls to action, meaning that when someone clicks on it, you demonstrate that you're the guy for SQL Server performance tuning training or SQL Server coaching. That's what you do. And then you have a very strong call to action. Then you can convert way more traffic. And if you're promoting something like a blog, if you're promoting a more informational, like you want people to show up to your webinars and that's your conversion, it's not necessarily a sale, then your conversion is going to be link throughs back into your blog. So whatever you decide a win is from your perspective, that's what you want as your strong call to action. You can do landing pages in a number of ways. There are WordPress plugins that will allow you to do landing pages. You can just create a page on WordPress, but you can also use a marketing automation program. Marketing automation programs like Infusionsoft, I think Infusionsoft is about $150 a month, is a great way to kind of take your marketing and SEO to the next level. You know, you are adding another system, and I know that can be a little daunting, and there's a cost to it. But it'll also allow you to do basket analysis, meaning understanding who's coming in, how they're navigating through the web page, through each web page, and then how they're converting. And so if you want to go from that beginner level to an intermediate in terms of lead generation, and marketing automation platform is kind of your next step. So for your SEO action plan, step 3, of course, is writing blog posts. So you've got your keyword, our SQL Server performance tuning training. And then you're going to create blog posts, case studies, white papers, videos with these keywords. There are 2 different types of keywords. There are short tail keywords and long tail. So short tail would be SQL Server performance tuning. A long tail may be, oh my goodness, SQL Server, I'm getting a SQL Server error message, or how to fix a SQL Server error message. I think those 2 things are connected. This is my non-tech knowledge coming out. So you see, one is very, very short that somebody can just type in really quickly, and another is very targeted. And you're going to get a heck of a lot less hits for that, right? Because there are going to be less people matching towards that long tail keyword, but those are much higher quality. So if you do a little bit of keyword analysis, and again, I'm going to show you the tool, and you find that there are, 200 searches per month for that specific long tail, that's worth writing a blog post about, right? I mean, I would write a blog post for 200 readers a month, and then that just links deeper into my website. Optimizing your meta descriptions for your pages and posts is really important, and Yoast is going to help you with this. So once you've developed your keywords, we just did 3, but if you've got about, I would say about 6 is the most you want for any cluster, so any service that you have, then as you're developing your posts and your pages, your meta descriptions are really, really, really important, because that's what people are going to see when they search for Google, right? They'll see Catherine Wilkinson / I don't know, BI consulting / Power BI dashboard development / Tableau or BIML expert, right? So those things, that's what's going to make them click. And it's quite important. Again, Yoast kind of does the work for you there. And then just a couple more. So building backlinks. This is kind of the secret sauce. When I learned about the whole backlink world and how complicated and complex and quite elegant it can get, yeah, it's really cool. So, and it's very SQL family, right? Because we all support each other, we all lift each other up. There's enough business out there for all of us, and so I know we're all friendly competitors, and we're all trying to develop content that people want to read, right? Because it fosters a sense of community, and that's really baked right into SEO, which I thought was so cool. So you want people linking to you. Google ranks you based on how big your network is. And that makes sense, right? If more people are reading and linking to your content, chances are that content is more valuable to more readers. I think that's a safe assumption to make, as long as you're not purchasing clicks at click farms and etc. And they're starting to crack down on that. So there are a couple really great ways to build backlinks. The first is, obviously, if anybody ever mentions you in a blog post, if anybody ever talks about you at an event, make sure that when you're reading that, if they don't link to you, just ask them to link to you. And it's such a simple thing, right? It really is, but it has a lot of impact in SEO. The second thing that a lot of people do is make sure that your partnerships that you're building with other organizations. I have a couple of clients that use SentryOne as their monitoring solution, and so there's backlinking happening there, right? So we linked to SentryOne, and SentryOne on their partner page links to us. All of those partnerships are as important to them as it is to us. And so we build this virtual network for Google just based off the mutual need to have it, honestly. And the third thing that you can do to build backlinks is to make sure that you are participating in other people's content. So, we a lot of times we exist in this, on this island, right? And you're churning out content because you want those search terms. You're just writing to churn out content. And the moment you kind of look at the people who are creating similar or complementary content, and you can work together to kind of like build that network, then you just really amplify each other's voices. And you can move that into social amplification as well, which is a whole other topic that I'm really excited about, that's changing a lot, but maybe we'll talk about it another time. So backlinks, I love backlinking. That's a project that from an SEO perspective, I really love to do because I'm a writer by trade, and I love trading blog posts and getting on other people's resources pages and building email marketing based off of shared content. So the sixth piece, I've talked about this a couple of times, SEO content keyword clustering. So we just built 3 keywords based off of one of your products or services, right? But you are a data platform consultant. You are a BI consultant. You are developing SaaS tools and training in a bunch of different verticals. So each one of those segments really needs their own bucket of keywords. So I've put 3 here, database consulting, cloud migration services, and DBA ops or DevOps. Those are 3 very, very sticky keywords right now, especially because SQL Server 2008 is now, it's now gone. It's out of service. It happened yesterday. So sad. So we need to think about the services that you offer and how we can develop like those buckets, right? When you're developing buckets, you need to think about kind of like one keyword of that bucket to rule them all. It's like the keyword. So your keyword for your Power BI dashboard development service could be Power BI dashboard training, right? And that's your keyword. And then all other keywords need to flow from that one. And this is really important when you start building landing pages, because we just talked about your hierarchy of your website. When you're developing a keyword or a landing page, a set of landing pages, because once you start this SEO thing, it doesn't stop. You just keep creating. So you create your Power BI dashboard training landing page, and then you've got links to other landing pages off that main one page. And that lets Google know that this bucket of keywords, this bucket of content, it's all linked and it works together and it crawls it together. And so it keeps your hierarchy and it keeps your content structure really clear for Google. And it stops you from competing against yourself. If things are linked correctly and your buckets are shaped right, then you don't cannibalize yourself. And that can happen. I've seen that happen a couple times. So the last thing is staking your claim. So there are a couple of places where you should be staking your claim through Google and on the internet. And that some people just, it just slips you by because we are consultants, we work virtually, and we don't think about it. Google Console is probably the most important. So you need to go into Google Console, and I've got the link in the next slide. And you need to let Google know that you own this business, and it's going to give you all of your SEO keywords and all of your analysis and where you stand in a whole bunch of different things. It's kind of like Google Analytics, except instead of giving you a snapshot of what your website is like today and all of the traffic coming into it, it identifies your keywords and it tells you what the ecosystem is like, right? It's really cool, but you need to go in and you need to say, I own this website, and claim it. Another place you need to claim is on Google Maps, even if it's just your house, right? Put your business on the map. Have a couple of people, couple of past clients, maybe people who have worked with you that you have great relationships with, have them give you 5 stars and just have a presence and link your website through on Google Maps. Do the same with YouTube. Put one video up, because Google, they see that and they know that. And they want you to using their services. And so those things can make a huge impact. Google Console is going to be the most important one. But make sure you stake your claim on the internet. Like, think about where you can link through that's going to give you the leg up. And you'll actually find, speaking of Google Maps, this is something I learned in the keyword research that we were doing. When companies are searching for database management consultants, a lot of times they're looking for someone local. They want to have a conversation about the fact that, Vancouver just snowed for the first time this year. They want to know that the person they're dealing with is part of their community, right? So we found that when we were looking for SQL Server performance tuning, database management consultants, it was database management consultant Cincinnati, database management consultant New York, database management, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The local appeal is really, really important. And you'll find that if you stake your claim in your city, there aren't a ton of consultants that do that. A lot of the larger shops will, obviously, because they have a physical office and they're a team of people that work at that office. But if I'm looking for just one consultant, it's easy for me to find you and for Google to match us if Google knows where you live. If you're a team of consultants and you've got 3 or 4 people, add all the places. Just do it. You've got consultants in that city. It's fine. It's fine. That would be my advice. All right. That's your action plan. Those are your 7 pieces. If you can if you in your productivity workflow, when you take time to work on your own business, if you can take a couple hours every quarter, start with every quarter, and just focus on these 7 steps, just pick one and start working through it, I think you'll see a huge uptick in people who consume your content. And then, converting is a whole other ball of wax, but you've got Google Analytics for that. So you can do some basket analysis just with the free tools that Google provides. So I want to talk about tools. I have 5 tools, I think, 4 or 5 tools to tell you about for SEO. Before I move on, do you have any questions about the SEO plan? Are there any just like glaring things? Did I miss anything? You guys are pretty quiet, but.
Yeah, I do have one question.
Shoot.
I may have talked over Jillian, so maybe just she's a little low on the sound. But in terms of SEO for WordPress specifically, tags versus categories, do you have any recommendations there? Because it's so easy to fall into the 10,000 tag trap.
Oh, I know. So I think the way I like to do it is I always base it off my keyword clusters, and everything on the website works together. It's more important to focus on hierarchy, right, than it is to have to make it easy for people to search for on your website. And I know we want to, you know, we want to segment and make it super easy if somebody comes to our website and they can just like find what they're looking for easily. But it's more important for Google to bring people to you, and that's the key. So I would say that you shouldn't have more than 10 categories on your website. And you can tag, I mean, you can tag till like one category can have multiple tags. And tags, I don't know. I've never given a limit to tags, and I've never been penalized for that. But keep the categories as clear as you possibly can. Like keep it reined in. Excuse me. Killian, did you have a question?
Yes, I did. Sorry if I'm quiet.
No, it's all good.
So sorry if you've said this, it's late here. The keywords, you said
Yes.
roughly about 6 key phrases that you'd want to use.
Per keyword cluster. Yes.
Right, and that's where I'm a little bit confused, so sorry. So the keyword cluster, would a cluster be each? So for example, services, would I have a keyword cluster per service I perform?
You know what? I have an awesome, let me just find, I have an awesome little graphic, and I think I have it right. Do I have it here? Oh, I don't. So your keyword cluster, you've got, okay, so we're talking services, right? IT services. So let's say you have, in your business, you segment your services in 4 ways. You've got infrastructure, security, database management, and governance and compliance. I don't know, I'm just picking 3. So each of those are going to be their own buckets. They're going to be their own cluster of keywords. So you'll have your keyword to rule it all, IT, infrastructure, consulting in London. I don't know if that's what, if you're targeting a local market. And then then you're going to choose 6 keywords, and these are short tail, that flow underneath your IT infrastructure. Now, you can get complicated with this, Jillian. You can choose to create more clusters underneath that. But all of the 6 keywords that you're creating, and as you develop your landing pages around those 6 keywords, they all need to work together, and they all need to internally link. And then you would do the same thing for security, IT, security, and consulting services, right? That would be your keyword. And then you'd have 6 that fit underneath that. And then again, all of those would link. Now, you can create kind of a larger bucket that sits on top of that, but then we're getting complicated, and it can get quite complex. And I'm sorry, you can't have different layers, but let's just focus on developing your service categories. And then for each category, you have one short tail keyword phrase of no more than 6 words. And then underneath that, you would have 5 others, and they all link together. And then you would have separate buckets, and you would develop a blogging strategy and landing page development for each one.
Great, thank you.
Does that work? Okay. I do have this great graphic, and I will, you know what, why don't I email it to you guys afterwards so that you don't have to listen to me trying to find something on my computer. Are there any other questions about the SEO action plan? Cool. All right. So these are the tools. These are all free. We have a paid tool here at PaperSword, which is it's really expensive. But for the longest time, we just used these 5 tools, and we found a lot of success for our clients. In the SMB market, I think it's fine. And then if you need anything else, you're welcome to ask us if the tools aren't giving you what you need, because a lot of times it's just a really quick search. So like I said, Google Console. So you need to verify your site in Search Console. You need that you're like the owner, the webmaster, or authorized, or what have you. So then you're going to get just tons of information. And if you pair that with Yoast, which we talked about before when you're optimizing your website, I think you're going to see in real time how each page is doing. And then Google Console will show you kind of the overarching SEO performance of your website. And you can, and then as you're developing blogs, you can play with it, right? And you can watch those, your site performance change over time. So the next two, oh, I have Yoast on here twice. Apologies. So the next one is Google Trends. So this shows you what's out there. This shows you the overall search trends per industry, and it's really, really eye-opening and interesting, especially for the Microsoft Data Platform industry. It's shocking how little searches are done and how many people are competing for it. It was really eye-opening for us, which is why we moved a couple of our clients into more local searches, because there was more action happening there. It's very, very interesting. So, and I'm going to show you some of that stuff in a second. So another thing that's really important to realize that we kind of dawned on us at last pass, not this pass that just happened, but the one before, is that you'll see spikes in certain keywords depending on certain events, especially for smaller industries like SQL Server, which is really focused on one technology or a subset of technologies, and database management. Yes. But when a big conference happens, when the AWS conference happened, reInvent, in December, there was a huge uptick in cloud migration, AWS, obviously, and security. And so we saw these really interesting spikes. And when you know that's coming, and when you're tracking it year on year, then you can capitalize on those searches by strategically building the right landing pages. And then if you've got a little bit of money, you can throw up some AdWords, and it really helps. So Google Trends is really interesting to show year over year traffic. And then Uber Suggest. We love Neil Patel. Uber Suggest is amazing. It's such a cool tool. I'm actually going to show it to you in real time. I have it up right now. So give me just one sec. Our buddy Neil. I feel like I know Neil I know Neil like personally, because his face is always here. Can you guys see it? Hopefully you can see it. So his face is always here. We love Neil. This tool is totally free. It's neilpatel.com. We use it quite a lot. I put in database managed services here. Does anybody want to give me a keyword? Did anybody write one down? You just want to say it quickly? And I'll put it in here. We can take a look at it.
Cajun recipes.
Okay. Really?
Hi, Chrissy.
Hey, Catherine.
I love it. Cajun recipes. Come on, Neil.
Come on, Neil.
Go, Neil, go. It does take it. They are searching me. Like, they are.
It's a lot of data.
Yeah. Cajun recipes. It's awesome. All right. So the search volume is low. Poor Cajun recipes. I don't know. Maybe I'll search it right now. So one of the coolest things is, you've got this, of course, just this like quick glance look. Oh, look, it's free if you want to. So a very low cost per click if you want to pay to advertise. So there's it'll tell you the % chance you can get in ranking in the top 20, which is the top 2 pages on a Google search when somebody types in Cajun recipes. All right. This is how many searches per month. And it shows the months. The best thing about Neil Patel is that he gives you keyword ideas. So if I asked you to create those 3 keywords about I don't know, half an hour ago, and you struggled, you just put this into Neil Patel. He'll tell you. He'll give you an idea. He'll help you. And then the coolest thing is that it shows you your search engine result page rankings. So for Cajun recipes, this is what Google's going to show for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this gives you an opportunity to do some real competitive analysis. So who's ranking top 5? What do those pages look like? Are you on there, Chrissy?
No, because they're all large corporations. So I used to rank number 1 on, and that's actually kind of one of the reasons that I brought this up. I used to rank number 1 on Google, Yahoo, MSN, or whatever it is. And I used to do SEO in 2004, but as you mentioned, it's an ongoing everyday thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's a full-time job. I don't want another full-time job. And granted, like I messed up with some of my metadata, but what I was finding is that all us little ones, there was gumbo pages, there's like Cajun Family, there's Real Cajun Recipes, which is mine. They're just being trashed by southernliving.com, Food Network, All Recipes, My Recipes, and Pinterest. And how do we compete with the gigantic corporations?
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, it's really difficult. It is. And it's just the way Google's written their algorithms. You'll, even with database managed services, if I can just go back, if you go back to database managed services, the big guys are going to be number 1 to 5, right? The Data Veils, the RDXs, the Pythians. They're huge, right? And so you have to think about what your market wants, because from a consulting perspective, when I'm hiring a consultant, I may not want this like ridiculously massive Walmart of a service, and so I might look for a smaller shop. And I may not want something that's done by the Food Network. I may want something that's, I may want Grandma's Gumbo. Oh my God, I would love Grandma's Gumbo. Seriously though, in terms of like, if you want to compete directly with these guys, you're right. It is a full-time job because they have full-time people. Did I spell database wrong? Managed. Backlinking is the way to do it. So creating a community, creating a resource link page, getting together with a bunch of people with complementary websites and services, and then creating a network. So you're creating something that the Food Network or that a Data Veil that they've created in-house. You're just doing it all together. And we do that in SQL Community through our blogging network. So you can see here, Pythian, oh my gosh, it's like all of these huge rack space, but here's some really great keyword analysis. You'll see though, look at how low these search terms are. So I did have a little bit of stuff on how to develop content. I'm going to leave this in the presentation for you guys, and I want to show you, because I did promise some keyword stuff and I have like 1 minute left. So where are we? Let's just put all this down. That's my project manager thing, which you probably don't want to see. Let's look at database keyword research here. All right, so these are kind of the things that we identified. You'll see that a lot of this is the search volume is really, really low. So we elevated a lot of the keywords to more IT consulting, but you'll see, and I'm perfectly happy to share this with you guys. It's all good. Database consulting, 260 searches per month, and this is US focused. So if you guys are in different places, you'll just have to use good old Neil and specify where you're at. And then this tells you what the advertising cost is per click. So if you wanted to buy these keywords, every click is $37. It is not cheap. And it's very, very difficult to rank in the organic search. So you know, this stuff isn't, I don't know, we're not selling flowers here, right? So there are very few searches and there's a lot of competition, which is why I think we really need to focus on the entire plan, making sure everything is optimized. Oh, I did an AWS keyword search down here, which I thought you guys would really like. We did this when the conference was happening in December. So I'm happy to send this around. Just I formatted it quickly this morning. And I'll send it to everyone. I'm at the top of the hour here. So this is my email address. Please write it down. Send me your 3 keywords, your short tail keywords. If you want to do a long tail, that's cool too. A long tail is just kind of that longer, more focused keyword. I would be happy to do a little bit of research for you. We'll put it in Ahref, which is our social media tool, and give you as much information as we can about those keywords for you to start building your clusters. Because as much as just kind of a webinar with me talking for an hour is great, I'd love to actually arm you with something. That's me. If just as a little plug, so PaperSword does have a small business retainer service. So it's $3,500 a month, and we can manage all of this landing page development and execution for you. Of course, within reason, because it is, it's a small business offering. But if you'd like to chat with me about that, I would love to chat with you about that. And if you have any questions, or if you ever need a keyword research, like anything done, please just holler at us. We're, it's all SQL family, and we're really, really happy to help in any way. So I'll end it here. I don't have anything after this. So if you I'll stick around for 20 minutes or half an hour if you guys have questions or want some help doing something. Like I said, I'm not the keyword guy. So Misha is going to actually do the research for your keywords because it's what he does, but I will help and answer your questions as much as possible. Please email me here with your keywords. It's Blythe@paperswordb2b.com. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. You guys are so quiet. There's no questions. I mean, I guess that's fine. Just could sing you a song or something. Half of y'all are still here, not talking. All right, everyone. I'm cutting it off then. Thanks.